Gracie and I are enjoying another perfect day at the coal mines, and where I'm standing at the moment is on the area where the jetty would have been in the photo that you just saw, and what we're visiting is the Commissariat store at the coal mines down at Plunket Point. Now where Gracie's sitting patiently at the moment, in that photo you just saw, was a gentleman called Bill Thompson, and he was a convict, and he was down here late 1830s, early 1840s. Now it's a huge building. It's got a wall compound around it. The compound wall itself is 37 metres long by 15 metres wide and 3 metres high. Now we'll come through the front door where old Bill was. Thank you, Gracie. Now the doorway itself is 2.5 metres wide. It comes into a room that's 4 metres wide. You can see my string line going down there, and then we have a doorway on that side and another doorway on that side. So both sides of the building were exactly the same. The same amount of windows you see on both sides, and those windows were repeated at the back. And just here where these pieces of wood are, this was the back door which led into the compound. Now on this room here, we've got 7.3 by 7.3 metres. So you can see the border going around here. What I'm walking on now is basically the dregs of where they took all the blocks. A lot of the blocks we use for the foundations at the church down at Dunalley. So coming up to here, this is the corner of the building itself, and it travels back along here, back to our front door. Now the jetty situated there between the two sticks. The jetty was probably about 3.6 metres wide. So travelling along here, this is the southern end of the building. You can see foundations still remaining along there. And a big pile of vegetation. And we travel along here, and then that mound there is the end wall, the southern end of the building itself, which travels back into the bush there, 7.3 metres. Travelling down here, you can see these beautiful sandstone blocks. And this is the south-east corner of the building. Now just beside this, you take a little detour here, and it does get slippery, but this is where the Commissariat officer had his little dinghy whaleboat moored. And it's quite an interesting feature. I'll have a look around here. You can see where the convicts have shaped the sandstone, and it moves along there, and this is where he could pull his little dinghy in. And there you see that straight line, and then even here you can see where they've cut the sandstone out. And again more here, a few marks down there, and even along here. I'll just bypass that green stuff. So, quite a big feature, and most people that come down here don't recognise it for what it is. So let's go back up to the stores, as it used to be called. Now we're travelling now along the southern edge of the compound wall, where Gracie is now giving us a nice angle is the end of the southern end, southwestern end of the building itself. So we'll travel right down here to our corner. Now, when you come these days, you come down a little road that's north of this building, but originally this road here, Convict Road, connected the stores to the main settlement. You can see where Gracie's walking there right up the middle. I've put a few sticks there each side to give you a bit of an idea. But the stores were transferred from here to the main settlement up that road there, and it'll travel along that way there. So we're going back now, and we're on the western side of the compound wall. And just over here is a sandstone, which looks like it may have been worked by the convicts at some time. Seems to be marks in the wall around where Gracie is now. And maybe they used some of this sandstone here, as well as from the northern quarry, to build the building here. So we'll move along a bit further here, and on the wall itself, at the back there was a door, gate, and that was 3 metres wide, which is between my two white markers here. So this is the wall coming up, where basically where this tree has fallen. Comes right along here and travels up where my string line is. Now on the original plan it showed an office just there, probably about 3 metres by 2 metres, if that, with a fireplace in it, and then another one on this side here. And then on the other side of this office there was a storage area for oil. Now that doesn't seem to be built, but when I have a look here, I've got some type of the sandstone structure comes out further than what I believe the actual wall was. And then just here I have a bit of brick. I'm not touching any of this, just filming only. When I looked at the old photos, which I'm going to show you shortly, it doesn't seem to show any buildings against the back wall, but maybe the brick robbers got in there and got those early before they damaged the main building. I don't know. So here we are now, back along the edge of the northern building, end of the building, and then over here is the northwestern corner of the compound wall. So we're looking back now there towards the two buildings. So I travel along here. Now they had to have provisions down here for 2,000 people for a couple of days. That was the average amount of stores they had to have, because once this was built they had to have the stores not only for the coal mines but also for the other probation stations. And you had Saltwater River, which was just down the road, and you had Impression Bay and Cascades. And those stores would have been salted beef, salted pork, maybe fresh meat if they were lucky, tea, flour, probably tobacco for some of the officers. And in the back of the compound itself there would have all been bits and pieces that they needed for the mining to be carried out. Now they proposed to build this in around 1842 due to the amount of theft that was going on at the stores up at the main building beside the solitary cells. There's no real record of this, known record until 1847, but I expect it was built around 1843, 1844. I'm about to show you some photos of how the building looked in better days. Where Gracie's laying down there now in my red jacket is the northeastern side of the compound wall, and over there where that tree stump is the northwestern. So when I'm about to move back further, it'll give you a bit of reference point to look at. So on this photo here, you can see the northern end of the compound, the building itself, and you should be able to see the remains of the jetty. I think it was a little bit longer originally, and it was T-shaped at the end, so it'll at least to give you a good idea of what it looked like from the northern end. We'll have a look at another photo taken from the northern end. This shows the rear of the building a lot better. Where my red jacket is now is the northwestern corner of the compound, and then you'll be able to see the back of the building and the compound wall. There are windows on the back of the building that match the positions on the front, but it's very hard to see in this photo. I'm now standing at the southern end of the compound wall, and where Gracie's sitting is approximately the area of a window frame that you can see in the front of the picture, and on the left there's a V-shaped hole in the compound wall. That's where the compound gate would have been, and then in the far distance you can see the northern wall of the building and part of the second story above it. This is a nice little bit of crockery found on the foreshore. You see a little bit of a line along the top there. So there you have it, the remains of the Commissariat store at the coal mines. The next photo I'm going to show you is from the southern end, and in this photo